Hey guys, my name is Mono, and today I'm going to show you how you can plan, shoot, and edit time slices. So let's get right into it. You may be sitting there wondering, what the hell is a time slice? Well, let me explain. A time slice is essentially multiple shots that were taken over a period of time. These shots have been sliced and combined together into a single image. The purpose of a time slice is for you to showcase the different colors that happen in the sky during either a sunrise or a sunset. If it wasn't for time slices, the only way for you to showcase the color that happens during a sunrise or a sunset is by actually shooting video. You want to record the entire thing from start to finish. Well, time slices are a way for you to convert that video into a still image, still showcasing all of the colors that have happened during sunrise or a sunset. Time slices are super addicting. They're actually so much fun to create. Every single time I go shoot a sunrise or every single time I shoot a sunset, I'm always slicing it. That's how addicting it is. But before we get way too excited and get into the editing part, there are a couple of boring things I have to go over with you just so you're prepared for your own time slice. If you're planning on shooting the sunrise, you don't want to just go when the sun is rising. You want to be there at least half an hour before the sun rises, and then another half an hour after the sun rises. That's at least the time that you want to be there. That way you're guaranteed that you're going to capture all of the change in the color that happens in the sky during that time. So you'll be capturing nighttime, blue hour, golden hour, and then sunrises, a little bit more golden hour, and then daytime. That way you're capturing all that color in the sky, and your slices will look dramatically much better. The other thing that you want to plan for when you're shooting a time slice is the number of shots that you're going to be shooting. If this is your first time shooting, I would recommend go anywhere from 30 seconds to 60 seconds between every shot. The time interval, it's so important that it's consistent, because that way when it's consistent, you're going to see that smooth change in your photographs. Versus if it's not consistent, you're just going to see it choppy. You'll have one bright image and another darker image, and the colors are not going to really match. You want that colors to slowly be changing from blue to orange, or from orange to yellow, what have you. You want it to be a very smooth transition that's occurring. So a shot a minute, a shot every 30 seconds, a shot every 2 minutes, what have you. But you want to capture as many shots as possible. That way you have a good amount of photos that you can work with. A way for you to time your shots accordingly is by using one of these guys, an intervalometer. This guy plugs into your camera, and it's a way for you to program how often you want your shutter to go on. So if you want it to go on every 30 seconds, you just tell this guy, hey, take a shot every 30 seconds. If you don't have an intervalometer, check to see if your camera has a built-in intervalometer inside the settings. And if that doesn't exist either, it's totally fine. I shot the first 10 slices using just my cell phone's timer. So just be sure that you have something out there that you're timing your shots with. That way you're guaranteed that you're getting that nice, juicy gradient of a color in your shot. The last thing that you want to have when you're shooting a time slice is a tripod. You want a tripod because you're out there shooting, anywhere from 60 to 1500 images, what have you. You're out there for an hour, for a very long time, and you're taking multiple shots. You want to take all of the shots at a perfectly aligned angle. So having a tripod will guarantee that all of your shots are aligned. If you don't have a tripod, look for a flat surface that you can place your camera on, but be very careful when you are taking a picture that you're not moving the camera every 60 seconds or 30 seconds or what have you. Whew. I know that was a lot of work, that was a lot of prep, that was a lot of me telling you, you need this, you need this, you need this. You're probably like, I don't know if I want to go shoot a time slice, but I promise you, it's so much easier now. It's all downhill from now. You can tell I'm pretty pumped because this is the editing part. This is the fun part. This is where you get to see the amazing footage that you just captured come to life. So let me show you how you can edit your own time slice. It's very important that you select a certain amount of images from the batch of images that you've shot. In other words, you have to decide how many slices you want to have in your final product. So if you've gone out for a whole hour and you shot 60 shots over the course of the hour, but in your final image you only want to have 30 slices, well then you have to pick your images with a consistent time interval between them. What do I mean by that? It's very simple. Let's just say you have 60 shots and you want to have only 30 slices. Well, in that case, you would choose your first image, you'd ignore the second one, choose the third one, ignore the fourth one, choose the fifth one, and so forth. You get the idea. If you want to have 20 slices, same thing, be consistent. You choose the first one, ignore the second one, ignore the third one, and then choose the fourth one, ignore the next two, and so forth. Just like how we were consistent with the time interval that we were shooting the images, you also want to be consistent with the time interval between the images that we're going to be editing. Now, speaking of editing, I've already imported 24 images that I'd like to include in my slice. The first thing that you want to do is you want to edit all 24 images, or in my case, I want to edit all 24 images the exact same. How I do that is by selecting the very first image, and I apply all of my adjustments on just the very first image. And then once I'm happy with how the look is, I want to then apply all of these adjustments throughout my entire slice. And I do that by clicking on the very first image, pressing down shift, press and hold down rather shift, select my last image, and then right here, I click on the sync button. Everything that I've adjusted, I want to make sure that it is selected. The only thing that you don't want to have selected is the white balance, because the white balance in the daytime is different than the white balance on the nighttime. So you want to go over each image as much as you can and see if the white balance matches based on the time that you actually snapped that shot. So once I'm happy with that, I just click sync, and I've already done this, and all of my images are already, you can see all of the settings are consistent throughout the image. The only thing that's not consistent is the white balance. As you can see on my very last image, my nighttime image, I have a different white balance than I do have on my very first image. The final step is actually slicing your image. And how you do that is you want to make sure everything is still selected by clicking Control A or Command A, and then you just right click and edit, and then open as layers in Photoshop. What this does is it will open a brand new file in Photoshop, and it will have all of your images stacked in the exact same order that you've shot them. So we'll start from the very first image that you've shot, and then we'll go to the last image that you've shot. That way it's consistent from day to night or from night to day, what have you. So you don't have to make the order yourself. Photoshop does that for you, which is freaking awesome. Now I have all of my shots here in Photoshop, but there's one thing that we want to do before we start slicing. When I took my photos here, even though I was on a tripod, I was on a pier that was constantly moving up and down. And that's because there was a lot of boats that were moving, and then it was causing a lot of waves, and therefore the pier was going up and down. So some of my shots, the horizon is just, one is up here, one is down there. I want to align those. What if in your case, you're like, well, I was on the pier and I didn't have that problem and I was on a still tripod. Well, every time your shutter goes on, there's a slight movement in your camera's body. So that also interferes with the alignment. So the first thing that we want to do before we slice it is we want to make sure they're all aligned. So that when you slice it, it's just all of them in the same horizon or in the same straight line. So how we do that is we select on the very first image, then you scroll down, press and hold down shift, select the last image. What that's going to do is going to select all of your images, and then all you got to do is go to edit and then auto align layers. Once you do that, just keep it on auto and click OK. Photoshop, it will give you it'll take a couple of minutes to align all of the layers that you have. Depending on how many layers you have, it might take longer, it might take shorter. It really all depends on how many slices that you have selected to have in your final product. We want each slice to be equal, and it's amazing that Photoshop does all of that for you automatically. How we do that is we come view and you choose new guide layout, and then you pick how many columns you want based on how many slices you have. So I have 24 images and I want to have 24 slices, so I have 24. By default, you might have a number here in the gutter. You want to make sure your gutter is 0. What the gutter does, I'm going to show you this as an exaggeration, just creates an extra spacing between your guidelines. You don't want that. You just want nothing. You just want your slices to be clean. You want nothing between each guideline. Now I have my 24 columns, and then all I have to do is slice them. So how you do that is you come to your Marquee tool, and then you want to make sure that your snap is turned on. And what you then do is you just draw with your Marquee tool all the way to the very, well, in this case, the second grid line. And then with the first image selected, press and hold down Alt or Option, and then come to the layer mask here. Make sure that black is your background and click this. And then you see black means all of this part is hidden. And then that is your very first slice. So I like to move my grid lines just so I know that I've already masked this part. And then I just have to repeat the step again. So I'm just gonna repeat it just to show you what I've done in case you missed it. Again, I can have this selected, that's fine. And then I draw a grid line here, all the way to this one. And then with black being my background and the layer mask is selected, I just press delete. Perfect, and then again, I'll move the grid line. Do it one more time before I start just getting focused and then just doing the whole thing. Slice selected, draw with my Marquee tool, press and hold down Alt, and then boom, done. All right, so I'm just gonna repeat the process over and over again, and then I'll show you what it's like once you're done. Ones. All right, and just move this right here. I know I've already done this, and the very last one. And done. Of course, the only one that you don't add any layer mask to is just the very last one, because the last image, well, if you mask it, then you'll end up having a background. So that is it. Once you're done, guys, all you have to do at this point is just go select the very first image and click Command Option Shift E. And what that's gonna do is gonna merge all your layers together into one visible layer. Once you're done that, you can then go ahead and save your file. When you save it, it's automatically then imported into your Lightroom library rather, and you're good to go. That's it, I'm done slicing. I know it looks complicated, I know it looks like a lot of work, but honestly, it's just repeating the same step over and over again. It's that simple. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you've enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. This is my first tutorial. I hope I can create more content like this because this is my goal. My goal is to teach this photography. I want to make this seem as easy as it is and encourage you guys to go out to create your very own content. And that's it. I'm just gonna stop talking because I've talked a lot. And look after each other. Peace.